Presence over performance. Presence does not mean being passive or neutral. That's a big thing that people push back against. It's like, well, if I'm in a good place and I want to stay there, then I could never interrupt that, because people think that we would never have a conflict then, or you would never say no, but now we need to help people to, yeah, sometimes the right
Mhm.
thing is to say no.
Is a big piece to focus on because I think that's really, really ingrained in, like,
Yes.
these
How would you know that, Krista?
because I lived it, 'cause I lived it. So I was like, "Okay, well, if I'm present, then I can't be angry. If I'm present, then I can't be sad. If I'm sitting here observing it, I mean." And yes, that there it's like 2 things can be true at once. I can
Yeah.
observe it and
So
also
let's you got to be careful with that, because anger represents a closed system. But we can allow the anger to come up, and then we can move through it. And now I could present it. Sometimes the truth that was in the anger, that was, I gotta say no this time. I'm not gonna do this. Well, we dissipate that energy, right, by coming back into flow. We let that go. Now maybe I can still say no, but I don't have to have it quite as charged. I think that in our society, uh, that people pleasing, especially when it comes from women, often because they have not been heard 1,000 times by their significant other or by society, by the time they get to the thousandth and once time, it can come out a little charged. You never fucking hear me, right? And so then in this back and forth play of life, it makes it. I should have listened on the 999th time if it's my thing, but I didn't. But I also can't hear very good when I'm being attacked, right? Both of those things are true. So somebody's got to change that dialogue. So what we're talking about here is taking responsibility for us being the one to move into that. So instead of going that, maybe it comes out more like maybe it's not a word. Maybe it's an action. Like when you tell your kids for the 150th time that they are not putting their shoes away, that they're going to get thrown out, you just throw the shoes out. You're not angry with them. You just took the action that you threatened to do 1,000 times, right? That type of thing. And we know that that's the right action, because when we come back to here, we can have that a little bit of that knowing happen, because I'm no longer going to say, if I do this, people are going to judge me. If I'm going to do, like, it moves a lot of that stuff. Rather than forcing actions despite our state, we allow our inner state to lead our actions, which means compassionate responses arise more naturally. It's kind of what we just talked about. Boundaries require less force. Decisions feel clearer, and our presence is felt. Many people assume that if they understand a situation logically, they should be able to control their actions. Yet in real life, reactions often occur, this is really important, before we have time to think them through. This is because we often have the reaction in our body, and the body responds even before anything, right? That neurosystem's firing, and then, right? This happens because the brain organizes repeated experiences into neural networks. A neural network stores multiple elements of past experiences together, including emotional responses, body sensations, beliefs or interpretations, and behavioral impulses. So every time we think of a past, or think or feel a past thing that's happened, all of those things are available to us. You, and we can prove that really easy. Just think back on something. You'll know how you felt. You probably have to throw some other things in there. If it's a really strong emotional response, you'll probably be able to have a lot of identity around color. A lot of often smells are in there. You can remember how something smelled. Those things, right? It's embedded. That's how strong that is. If we don't if we're not doing this, we grab that file, we light it on fire, and then we run back into our filing cabinet and we light everything on fire while we're searching for the file that it matches exactly. And all of a sudden, everything's up in smoke. This always happens to me. This was my father-in-law. If he went fishing and it rained, it wasn't raining. It was raining on him, not specifically on you. When a neural network is activated, we can create a repeating cycle of reactions. This process can be understood as an activation loop. In many cases, entire sequence unfolds in seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Somebody looks at you the wrong way, you pick it up, ears go down, can't hear anymore, can't really see what's going on. I lose my perspective. I start to go back into my old adaptations. I start to fill time. I start to people please. I start to do whatever those things are. I would say within tenths of seconds sometimes. You
Or you feel
watch
like
you watch it with your client, right? They were doing, and then something happened and they're just gone.
mm,
Maybe I saw a little too close to them. Maybe I did something. So that's why the self-awareness when we're in session. So, and if we're going to change something up, we need to ask people if it's okay if we do that, and then watch their reaction and don't expect an outcome. Just because I asked it, no is a perfectly acceptable answer.
because the response is fast and automatic, it can feel as though the situation itself caused the reaction. In reality, the reaction often comes from an already established neural pattern becoming active.
Yeah. But even in saying that, we go, okay, it's a situation. But the reality is that it triggered something that's been there a long, long time. You don't burn out because of the work that you're doing. You burned out because you came into the work that you're doing with this baggage.
Mhm.
The situation inside of us existed long before we got the job. This is not top-down teaching. This is experiencing life together as we move through this.